This is a new monthly series that we're going to try called the Blockchain Report. My partner in this project is Dan Weiskopf of Toroso Investments, and we're going to talk about trends that they have seen in the blockchain market space. Dan, thanks for coming on and trying this new experiment with us.
Thanks, Jay. Looking forward to it.
Our mission at Resilient Advisor is to have a significant impact on the retirement crisis by educating and empowering financial advisors to better serve their clients. We bring you industry thought leaders and experts to help you make a difference in the lives of your clients.
Going independent is incredibly rewarding, but most advisors don't end up in the best place for their business. They instead end up getting sold by smooth-talking recruiters, custodian reps, or worst of all, aggregators who don't have their best interest in mind. The Independence Incubator from Resilient Advisor takes a fiduciary approach to independence. Our clients pay us directly for unbiased guidance on the best path for their business. Don't get sold, get educated, and get unbiased guidance. Visit independenceincubator.com to learn more. All right, so the idea behind this show is to deliver advisors a 15 to 20-minute deliverable on what's new in the blockchain space. Let's start with what you are seeing right now in terms of China's impact on mining.
Yeah, I think what's happened in China has actually been a net major positive to the mining companies that are in North America, which frankly, we're overweighted towards, right? At the end of the day, what happened in China was China came in and shut down a lot of the miners, right? And a lot of mining has taken place in China, maybe 50%, and now it's gone down to maybe zero, right? We don't really know because it's China, but at the end of the day, the output is a difficulty rate, which impacts margins and what's produced in the way of Bitcoin so that they're more profitable mining in North America.
So Dan, help a novice like myself. How does China come in and shut down miners? I thought this was decentralized finance and they could go and set up shop wherever they would like. What does that look like from an application standpoint?
Well, first of all, it is China. So what the Chinese government says matters, right? And so they enforce the rules, right? So all of a sudden, the ability to mine was shut down because of electricity, okay? And the output is that more mining takes place in North America, and that's where we're long.
Okay, so the Chinese government says it's illegal to mine. These companies, they just say okay, and they stop mining. And that
they stop mining, and then what happens, right? Some of the mining companies have to sell Bitcoin, which has caused a lot of price pressure. And then over time, some of the mining companies will relaunch at different locations, but not in China.
But not in China. Okay. So you think that's had an impact on the drawdown in the price of Bitcoin over the past, couple of months here. And then that capacity has to have gone somewhere else. Where's it gone?
North America. And ironically, a lot of the companies that are in North America have been building up capacity. So they're very well positioned to take advantage of what's happened.
Okay, excellent. So Dan, another issue that you brought up in your most recent report is the ESG mining concerns. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think this is overblown. In North America, most of the mining companies are focused on renewables. In China, that wasn't the case. So with some irony, what we're going to see is China shutting down and more renewables being the focus here in North America. And that's where we're long. So I think it's a net positive. And ironically, the Bitcoin mining organization recently put out some information that suggests that someplace around 56% of the mining is through sustainable companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Elon Musk tweeted something out about it, didn't he, a couple months ago, as it related to the impact of mining on the environment? And how did all that play out and factor into Bitcoin's price action, in your opinion, over the past month?
Yeah, so Elon came out and said that that's a big problem for him. And of course, that led to some Bitcoin price action that's declining, right? At the end of the day, Bitcoin is going to find its level. And we think it's going to be around 30,000 for now, right? And then bounce back up. And I would actually add, apparently, he's reversed his position.
Okay. So you and your company, Toroso Investments, are the sub-advisor of the Amplify ETF's data infrastructure ETF, symbol BLOK. One of the value propositions there is the active management inside the strategy, and active management has the opportunity to provide alpha when looking at this space. Walk us through what you've seen happen from an active manager standpoint in the marketplace over the past month.
Yeah, I mean, on a lot of levels, some of the companies that were long have gone down and become oversold, right? There's evidence that the fundamentals are very strong. An example of that would be Voyager Digital, right? This is a company that was down 16% in the month of June, and then they came out with results that suggested that sequentially their business grew 65% quarter over quarter in terms of revenues, and their account base grew to 1.75 million accounts, up 75%. That's major growth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then, so from an active management perspective, what do you think folks that are actively allocating to the 200 some securities that can be allocated to when trying to gain exposure to this space? What did you notice?
So Jay, that's a great point. We do research on over 200 different companies in our database. We're talking to managements, we're visiting companies, and having constant Zoom calls. And some of them, frankly, maybe in China, we may not be visiting them, but we're talking to the management teams.
Mm-hmm.
But here in the U.S., I just came back from Riot Blockchain in Texas, and visiting the companies gives you a sense of how big the facilities are and the impact and challenges that exist. I mean, some of these companies have real moats, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say Riot is one of them.
Okay. And Riot is one of the securities you noted in your report that is in the Russell 2000. And the impact of them being in the Russell 2000, it can't be understated, can it?
No. Riot and Marathon both were added to the Russell 2000, and I think that's an example of institutional adoption. This past June, apparently, American funds, as an example, also bought into MicroStrategies and now are the second largest holders of MicroStrategies. That's a $2 trillion money management firm. They're going to have an impact.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's shocking. I had not heard that. So we've had some folks added to the Russell 2000, but also some uplistings in the past month are pretty significant and we should speak to. Which ones have caught your eye?
So Hut 8, Bitfarm, and Hive were all uplisted. What is an uplisting, right? So these companies were traded in Canada, weren't recognized by a lot of investors. Now they're coming to the U.S. and more investors can buy. That's a significant change, right? And that's an example, I think, of how the marketplace is changing overall.
Yeah. So why don't we wrap with a stock story? I'm going to pick one of these ones we've spoken about as a novice to the space. Tell us about Hive. What is the value proposition?
So Hive actually is one of the leaders in ESG, and was one of the first, if not the first, company to come public as a miner. Um, and I actually visited Iceland, that facility, and that's another example, I would say, on how active management plays out.
Yeah. So what does Hive do? How do they drive their revenue?
So Hive is actually a miner mostly of Ethereum,
Mm-hmm.
and Ethereum is the crypto actually that had the largest revenues in the month of June. $1.1 billion. I think what's often misunderstood about the mining industry is really how big it could be, $2 billion roughly in the month of June was mined. And at different times, we might see this industry producing $20 billion in revenues.
Interesting. I'm sure the trip to Iceland was very informative. Did you go when it was cold?
It was 2 years ago, and it was actually quite nice.
Awesome. Well, Dan, listen, I really appreciate you coming on. I'm looking forward to this new monthly report where we talk about what's going on in the blockchain space. To download your copy of the most recent edition, please visit block-chain-monthly.com. Dan, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Jay. Look forward to working with you.